Hey everyone, I'm Andrew, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys my story about how I broke into product management and got a six-figure salary with no prior PM experience, internships, or a real software engineering background. Before I dive into the story, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below, and now let's get into it. So a lot of people ask me, what is product management? And from my experience, product management is the building of products that improve the lives of your customer while also generating value for your company. And you do this by working with various stakeholders. And what is a stakeholder? So a stakeholder is basically anyone who influences or touches your product. This could be various teams internally, such as sales, marketing, legal, designers, engineers, and even C-suite executives. You also tend to look at the market and speak with your customers. As a product manager, you're trying to understand the customer's problems and pains, and you're their advocate when working with engineers to build it. You guide product approach and implementation to make the experience the best for your customer. So as a product manager, you work in several different areas. You wear a lot of different hats. So one, you may be a designer, you could be an engineer, you're a customer service advocate, a QA, and maybe an architect. You put on a lot of different hats when you're building product because that's what it takes to build a good product. So that sounds like something you're interested in doing, then maybe product management is a role for you. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about product managers is that a lot of people think that we're managers and we have direct reports, but that's pretty much far from the truth. I guess unless you're a senior product manager, then you might have product managers under you. But aside from that, we don't really manage anyone. We work alongside engineers and other stakeholders. For me personally, I work alongside a bunch of engineers, full stacks, front end, back end, and we work together. I may create tickets and help prioritize what type of work that we do first to build products that are amazing for customers, but I don't actually manage them, nor do I want to. Product and engineers are collaborators, and when working to build features and products. So the engineers guide technical implementation, and they ask questions for clarifications about tickets, about the intended user experience, how and what features should be built, how the customer should interact and experience the product. And product managers are sort of the gatekeepers between engineers and the rest of the world, right? We take in the ideas from all sorts of people, we prioritize them and to be built in a certain order. And then we can leave engineers to do what they do best, which is to engineer and build. A good skill I think product managers should have is really good communication, because you're the face of these products. You're the one demoing to customers, you're the one explaining features to your executives and other stakeholders, and you really have to communicate your ideas and really explain what's in your head, right? Either by drawing on a board or writing down product specs. You're the one responsible for completing and launching these features, so communicating these ideas to everyone is incredibly important. So how did I get into product and what was my journey? So I went to UC Merced in the Central Valley of California, where I graduated in the fall of 2020 with a degree in computer science and engineering. And upon graduation, I was looking for software engineering jobs like most comp sci majors do. I grinded over 400 applications, doing lead code every morning, building on top of my projects, and I was interviewing left and right. And during this period, I knew deep inside that I didn't really like to code all that much compared to my peers, and it wasn't really enjoyable for me. And I originally got into tech because everyone was saying that's where all the money is at, and part of that's true, but that career didn't really suit the skills that I had and the strengths that I knew I had deep inside. So I have goals of being an entrepreneur one day. So I came in with the intention, into computer science and software engineering that, if I learn to code and I learn to build things, then that'll only help me towards my path to being an entrepreneur one day, to impact people, right? And in retrospect, I had a few of those ideas right. I did want to impact people. I did want to change people's lives. I did want to share value towards the world. And I realized that being a software engineer just wasn't the route to get there. Then there was one night I went to dinner with my friends, and I had a friend who was a PM, and he told me a little bit about what he did, what he does on a daily basis, and what the role was. And I instantly knew that PM was the role I wanted, but I didn't really know how to get there. And so I went home that night and I buckled down, I started studying, I started preparing, taking action towards this goal without any guarantee that it would work. But I knew that if I worked hard enough and I grinded hard enough that one day this dream would come true. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos about product management. I watched Chloe, who is an immensely helpful resource on YouTube as well about product management. I watched all the product manager channels out there on YouTube, but there aren't that many. And then once I finished that bunch of videos, I went on Udemy. I took a few courses on product management, teaching you what a product manager is and what it does, and just to get my head around all the skills and responsibilities that a PM has. Then I followed the product manager subreddit on Reddit and read through all the top posts, all the best practices. And then after doing all of that, I went back and started updating my resume, to present myself in the best way possible and increasing the chances of at least landing the interview. Because I knew that if I could land the interview, I could sell myself to the point where someone could pick that up and then give me my first chance of becoming a product manager. Then I started to apply. I applied to over 100 PM positions across the nation. And then I started to realize that I started getting a lot more responses. And it's quite interesting how fast I was getting these replies as opposed to my software engineering applications. And then before I knew it, I scheduled my first interview a week later and started prepping hours on end, day and night, prepping for all sorts of technical product questions that they would be asking. My friend then gave me access to the interview prep course that he used while he was applying to product manager roles, and it's called Try Exponent. And I think it did a really good job in preparing me for the types of questions that I would likely be asked. And I can do an in-depth video in the future about what PM interview questions would be like. So if you like that, then make sure to give a comment down below. So after a few interviews, and that went pretty well, I felt that I was getting the hang of these type of product questions. My friend informed me that his company was actually hiring for a PM and that a position would likely open up in the near future. And he referred me in, and I couldn't be more excited. I'd prepped a bunch up until this point. I had a lot of interviewing experience for PM roles, and I had a lot of my answers kind of locked down at this point. And I hadn't felt more prepared for interviews when the time came around to interview for his company, and needless to say, I think I killed it. So a big learning lesson that I had from interviewing across multiple PM roles is that, I realized that interviewing is really just a sales call, but instead of trying to sell a service or a product, you're trying to sell yourself, right? You're trying to sell your potential to excel and thrive at whatever company you're applying to. This is when the good part actually starts happening. Before I knew it, I started getting offers and I landed my first 6-figure product management position. I think a lot of people would say I got lucky and that I was in the right place at the right time, but I've since changed my belief in that you're really in control of your luck. You create your own opportunities, but you have to put yourself in that position to obtain and capitalize on that luck. And so I took the advice of all the YouTubers and influencers out there and really started taking action. I put in the work. I slept at 9 and 10 p.m. every single night, and I woke up at 5 a.m. every morning, including weekends. I started lifting weights, building myself physically and mentally, like by reading books and audiobooks. I stopped going out. I stopped playing games, even though I still kind of dabble here and there. It's my guilty pleasure. But, the biggest thing I learned was to say no. To say no to anything that put me off of my path from obtaining my goals, and that even included saying no to my friends and family. I reshaped some of the limiting mindset beliefs that I had to build the future that I wanted. And so you're out there, with any goal. Do you want to become the best chef in the country, or become an entrepreneur, or becoming a product manager? The biggest thing is taking action, putting in those reps, and you'll never know where it'll take you, but I guarantee that you'll get farther than you were before, and that's the biggest lesson. And that's my story. Thank you guys so much for listening to it. If you guys have any questions about product management, or if anything in this video resonated with you, please make sure to give a comment down below. And I'll see you guys next week. Later.